Have you ever felt like the world is moving on without you, leaving you behind in solitude? You try to connect, but the bonds seem to break, and the silence grows louder. It's as if Allah is pulling you away from everyone and everything. But why? My dear brothers and sisters, know that this isolation is not a punishment. It is a preparation. Allah isolates those He chooses to refine, protect, and guide them towards something far greater. Today, let's reflect on 7 profound reasons why Allah isolates the chosen ones. Reasons that carry wisdom we often overlook. Before we begin, consider this. What if the loneliness you're feeling is Allah's way of calling you closer to Him, away from the noise of the world? Let's explore how this could be the greatest blessing of your life. 1. Isolation to protect your heart. Have you noticed how when you're surrounded by people, your heart can easily get distracted, caught up in fleeting conversations or worldly comparisons? Sometimes Allah pulls you away, not to punish you, but to protect your heart. Think of your heart as a precious gem. To preserve its shine, you keep it away from things that could tarnish it. Allah sees its potential and knows that certain people or environments could harm its purity. Imagine you're surrounded by friends who subtly mock your faith or lead you astray. You start compromising, just a little here, a little there, until one day those same people drift away. You might feel confused or hurt, but in hindsight, wasn't that Allah saving you from something that could have harmed your relationship with Him? In moments of isolation, Allah is giving you a chance to reset, purify, and align your heart only with Him. Remember the ayah, "So do not weaken and do not grieve, and you will be superior if you are true believers." Surah Al-Imran 3:139. Your loneliness becomes space for Allah's love, guidance, and peace to fill your heart. 2. Isolation to refine your character. Have you noticed how the more you work on yourself, the more the noise of the world fades away? In solitude, Allah is refining you. When you're surrounded by distractions, it's hard to hear your thoughts or connect with Allah. Solitude strips away these layers and forces you to confront who you really are. In these quiet moments, you may discover parts of yourself you didn't want to face, habits you've ignored, or weaknesses you've been hiding. Allah isolates you not to punish you, but to help you grow. Just as the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, often withdrew to the cave of Hira to prepare spiritually, your moments of isolation could be a preparation for something greater. Sometimes the discomfort of being alone can feel overwhelming. It's easy to wonder why people who were once close to you are suddenly distant. But not everyone is meant to walk with you forever. Some are seasonal companions, and others are meant to teach lessons before stepping away. Use this time to reflect, realign, and learn to rely fully on Allah. 3. Isolation strengthens your relationship with Allah. Have you ever felt like no one truly understands your struggles? Even when you try to explain, the responses just don't resonate? This feeling is no coincidence. When Allah isolates you, it's His way of drawing you closer to Him. In times of ease, we often rely on people, friends, and material comforts. But in solitude, when those crutches are removed, you are left with the one who has always been there. Allah. How many times have you turned to Allah with a broken heart, only when you felt you had no one else to turn to? Isolation is an invitation to deepen your connection with Allah, not to separate from the community. It's a spiritual journey that strengthens your foundation so that when you return, you contribute with a stronger sense of purpose. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, faced profound loneliness throughout his life, but his moments of solitude were not about separation, they were about preparation. 4. Isolation is a training ground. You may have noticed that before significant growth in your life, something or someone is removed. Maybe a friendship ends or a support system fades. Have you paused to ask why? Isolation isn't rejection, it's refinement. Allah removes distractions to sharpen your focus and teach you lessons you couldn't learn in comfort. Think about Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, who was isolated in the well and later in prison. These moments weren't abandonment, they were preparation for a future leadership role. Ask yourself, what if your current struggles and isolation are part of your training? Maybe Allah is preparing you for something greater than what you can see right now. Remember, diamonds are formed under pressure. Use this time to reflect on what Allah is teaching you. 5. Allah's plan requires patience. Have you ever felt like you're in a holding pattern, watching others move forward while you seem to be stuck? This frustration is part of the process. Allah's delay is not denial. Sometimes Allah places you in isolation to prepare something far greater. Think of Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, who spent years in the wilderness before being called to lead his people. To many, it may have seemed like a setback, but it was actually the preparation he needed. Patience doesn't mean passivity. It means actively trusting Allah's timing and using this waiting period to grow spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Allah is refining you in ways you might not yet understand. The pause isn't punishment, it's preparation. 6. Isolation refines your intentions. Isolation has a unique ability to purify your intentions. When you're surrounded by others, their judgments and expectations can cloud your heart. You may find yourself doing things for their approval, even unconsciously. But when Allah isolates you, He invites you to reflect on why you do what you do. Think about Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him. His isolation wasn't a punishment, but a chance to solidify his unwavering faith. He wasn't concerned with people's opinions. His focus was solely on Allah's pleasure. Now think about yourself. If no one was watching, would you still pray with the same dedication? Would you still strive to be your best? Isolation strips away these distractions and reveals your true intentions. It prepares you to act purely for Allah's sake, and in that sincerity lies your true power. 7. Isolation prepares you for your unique role. When Allah isolates you, it's because He is preparing you for something unique. Your silence and loneliness are tools in His grand plan. Reflect on the story of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. His isolation, thrown into a well, sold into slavery and imprisoned, was not random. Every moment of solitude prepared him to be a leader who would save nations. Perhaps your journey is unique as well. You may be carrying a weight that no one else understands because your path is unlike anyone else's. Allah is not isolating you to break you, but to prepare you for a role that only you can fulfill. So the next time you feel cut off from the world, remember, this isolation isn't the end. It's the beginning of something greater. Trust that Allah is shaping you for something extraordinary. As we have explored, isolation is not a punishment, it's a preparation. Allah is using this time to refine you, protect you, and guide you closer to Him. Every moment of solitude, every tear, and every silent prayer is not wasted. It's part of a divine plan. Reflect on the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who received the first revelation in the solitude of the cave of Hira. His isolation was not to break him, but to elevate him to lead humanity. So my dear brothers and sisters, if you're feeling isolated, know that it is not the end of your story. It's just the beginning of a new chapter, one where your strength and faith will shine brighter than ever. May Allah guide us all, strengthen our faith, and make our trials a means of drawing closer to Him. Until next time, remember, wisdom beyond time is with you on this journey.